See if it works on the YouTube. I need that.
I'm trying to share it.
Just
yes, ljudi moji. Pa kaže.
Domaćine sve povedi, danas nema da se štedi. Nek se priča po komoju, da ne pamte svadbu boju. Domaćine sve povedi, danas nema da se štedi. Nek se priča po komoju, da ne pamte svadbu boju. Nulta, nulta opšaša, vaška svadba otkida. Malo srpski, malo vaški, sve je brate do ponaški. Nulta, nulta opšaša, vaška svadba otkida. Malo srpski, malo vaški, sve je brate do ponaški.
Jo, ljudi moji, jo.
Je prava dama, nek nazdravi danas s nama. Ova svadba za Oskara ima zlata, ima para. Sve krva je prava dama, nek nazdravi danas s nama. Ova svadba za Oskara ima zlata,
yes, idemo!
Malo srpski, malo vaški, sve je brate do ponaški. Nulta, nulta opšaša, vaška svadba otkida.
Kaže, vlaška svadba. Prijatelji moji, draga braćo i sestre, dobrodošli. Whoa! Večeras za vas right here. You see it right there. Violeta Podrumedic. Social media, yes. Kaže social media for the Eric in the morning 101.9 WTMX Chicago. Number one morning show, kako bi naši rekli, jel tako? Jes toplo, huh? Everybody's wondering, like, you know, zašto? Why are you playing this, you know? Oh, why are we playing this? That's what I want to know. All right. Prijatelji moji, za vas večeras. Right there.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Violeta Podrumedic.
Ajde na žurku.
Može. Dobro večer, dobrodošli prijateljice moja, and welcome to our emisija, kako bi rekli, right? Oh! Yeah, this sounds like it's close to home, right?
Yeah, for sure. It totally does. Malo vaški, malo srpski.
Yes, neko. Pitaju se svi ko, why would you play this? Because our good friend Violeta is by Negotin, jel tako?
Da, mi smo bliz Negotin, moja mama od Dušanovac i moj tata od Urovica. Mi pričamo malo vlaški i malo srpski, a ja puno engleski.
Right on the money. Val.
Razumem sve, ali teško pričam.
Dobro, bitno je da me razumeš, right?
Da.
That's all that matters. Violeta, first and foremost, thanks for joining us today. Hvala.
Thank you so much. It's so exciting. My Baba's watching from Serbia.
Yeah. Neka gledaju. So you come from the Negotin region, is that correct?
Yes, that's where my parents are from.
Okay.
Villages aren't too far apart, about 15 minutes, but in Serbia that makes a difference. A lot of grassland.
Sure. Are any mountains?
What's that?
Is any mountains by you, or is it all flat?
So it's funny because when I get in an elevator, you could be in an elevator with 10 Serbians, like 5 are super tall and 5 are like midgets. I'm on the shorter end, okay? So I call myself valley people, and then I'm not the mountain people.
I get it. Okay, so let's talk about it. No, kad su tvoji roditelji došli? When did they come to Chicago first? Tell me how that history goes.
Yeah, so my dad came here first without my mom. He came with his parents. They started small businesses, to get by, fruit markets, pizza stands. My dad, whatever he can get his hands on, he'll do. And then he went back to Serbia, met my mom, and then they moved here. So they got married there. They had my sister and then me. But when they first moved here, they were at 18th and Blue Island. So that's predominantly Mexican. So before...
Is that Pilsen? What is that?
Yeah, it's like, Pilsen, Blue Island area. So they had a pizza stand there. And before they learned English, they learned Spanish because that's all that was happening there.
Sure. What year was that?
That's a good question. That was probably 86.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm first generation here. Me and my sister are first generation here. They were,
Who's older, you or your sister?
What's that?
Who's older?
My sister.
Your sister.
Yeah, my sister was born in 88, and then I was born in 92.
Bravo. Okay, so they come over, they start a pizza place on 18th and Blue Island, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know why they came?
My dad always wanted to get out. He was in a small village and he always had these big dreams, and school was never his forte. Business and working with his hands, getting messy kind of things. So he started things in Serbia, but he always just had bigger dreams, I think. So he wanted to come to America and see what he can do. I mean, he asked for my grandparents' help. They sold everything there just to buy the plane tickets, So they put all their money together and they just came here hoping to make a difference, I guess.
So you, where were they living when you were born?
When I was born, they moved to Ashland, Wellington, which is where my parents started their little Bucharest restaurant that everybody knows.
Everybody knows it, yeah.
Yeah. So that's where they started that. And we actually lived on top of the restaurant in a small 3-bedroom apartment. My Baba Žarkica, my mom, my dad, me and my sister, we always shared a room, we just made it work.
Right. So they move over to Ashland and Wellington.
Yeah.
You were born.
Mm-hmm.
You grow up in Ashland, at Ashland and Wellington in the city?
Yeah. We grew up in Lakeview. That was a really cool experience because I feel like a lot of people say they're from Chicago, and I got to actually grow up in the city. Mm-hmm. So that was really, really cool. We grew up here, obviously, but then every summer we went back to Serbia. We spent 3-4 months there as long as we could. I'm pretty sure my parents wouldn't have sent us to preschool and kindergarten if they didn't have to, but
All right. So you're trilingual. Is that correct?
Yeah. So where we're from, we're blind. So we speak Vlaški. In our village, we mostly speak Vlaški. And then when we go to Negotin, it's you better speak Serbian because we're Serbian. But we definitely have a lot of those influences. I see even in our religious practices sometimes, I talk to my Ana Kuma and I talk to her and I'm like, do you guys do this? And she's like, no, I don't know what that is. But as you probably know, all Serbian tradition, there's so much superstition. So I don't know how much of that is religion and how much of that is just wives' tales.
Običaje su od sela do sela. So
right.
Right? You're right. You could be 2 kilometers away and they could have a completely different tradition.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right? Tell me a little bit about going back and tell me the difference between Vlaški, as you call it,
mm-hmm.
and Rumunski. What is the difference? Do we have a difference there?
So I try to explain this a lot to people. It's kind of hard to explain unless you're living it, but since we're in America, the difference like I kind of see is like, well, we all speak English, right? But when you're in the South, it's like very different.
Mhm.
They refer to things, you know, different words, different cultural norms. So I think that that's kind of like English and Southern English would be like Vlaški and Romanian. I'll give you an example. So there's some words that just don't match up. For instance, soba. A soba in Vlaški is your room. It's, you know, where you sleep, where your bed is. Soba in Romanian is an oven. So when someone came to our house, I was like, oh yeah, don't worry. Sam stavlja sve u sobu. They're like, what? You put my stuff in the oven? Why? I'm like, okay, never mind, never mind. So it's different things like that. It's really weird, but it just doesn't match up fully. And the accent. So like, I do not have a Romanian accent at all. My parents and my sister, they are really good with the Romanian, like very harsh. I do it a little more, what people might say, seljaki. And I do it Vlaški. And I just kind of, I put my own twist on it.
You went every year, you said, during summer break? Yeah.
Yeah. We grew up there with my grandma. You know, we have a house. We're fortunate enough to have a house in Dušanovac, where my mom is from, and then in Udovica, where my dad's from.
So did that continue through when? When did you stop going every summer for 3 months?
Yeah, you know, it's hard when you get older, you know, life gets in the way a little bit, school gets in the way, then work. But we try to go every 2 years. This would have been a year that we would have gone. You know, my grandma comes here and she stays with us during the winter. Their central heat situation is not really up to par.
Is that the famous grandmother we're talking about? Right?
Yeah, that's Baba Žakica. She's my cutie that I put all over my social media. It's kind of funny because my grandma, I mean, I think about the life she's lived. It's insane. You know, where she came from. Now she has an iPad. She has a Facebook. She knows how to look up like weddings on YouTube and, you know, all of the New Year celebrations that they do in the selo. It's crazy what she's able to do with her iPad. We talk to her on FaceTime every day, which really helps actually with the whole phone card situation because that was always really annoying.
Do you have
expensive.
Skupo jest bogami, I know.
Yeah.
Tell me, did you ever have anybody that lived in Romania proper?
No, not other than all of my parents' friends and singers that they brought over, because my parents at the restaurant always had concerts and they brought over different artists, like a lot. And they had a festival every year, so they were doing that. So we definitely had a lot of friends there, but never family.
So we're talking about, when we say restaurant, we're talking about the famous Little Bucharest.
Yes.
Ashland and Wellington. Which later moved up onto Elston Avenue by Addison. Is that correct?
Yes. It's so crazy how time flies. Like we always think it only happened a couple years ago, but they were at the Elston and Addison location for 15 years, maybe.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Since like 2000, whatever that is. I'm not good at math.
Tell me, as far as the festival that your family did, what was it? It was called?
So it's Taste of Romania, which
Surprise!
I know everybody always asks, you know, in school, everybody always thought I was Romanian because my parents would pick me up with this big Taste of Romania van, free grape juice, lamb and pig on the spit. It was kind of embarrassing.
Where'd you go to school? Where'd you go to school?
What's that?
Where'd you go to school?
So I went to St. Alphonsus when I was in the Lakeview area, and then I graduated 8th grade from St. Benedict's. Always Catholic. My parents really liked that, like to just give a little bit of structure. We went to Sunday school to make up, you know, for our own Orthodox religion, but they really liked the structure of a Catholic school, especially in the city. And then for high school, I went to Resurrection High School, which is an all Catholic. Yeah.
Tell me.
I don't like that one.
Resurrection is Res is still there on Talcott on the northwest side, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me, as far as you said, you went to Sunday school for the religious aspect, right?
Yeah.
Of the Orthodox faith. What parish did you belong to?
We were part of Palmer Holy Resurrection Church. That's in Logan Square. When I think back, it's funny how much you, as a kid, don't realize what you're gaining by being a part of that whole experience. You know, it's not just I mean, when you say Sunday school, you're like, I don't want to go to school. It's Sunday, you know. But we got to be with friends we would never be with, you know, speak Serbian when we wouldn't normally be speaking it daily. That was so important to my parents to make sure that we hold on to as much Serbian culture as possible. That's the folklore, the žurke, the going every Saturday. You know, it's a different experience, and I'm so grateful that we were able to do that.
So you dance folklore?
Yeah.
And you dance folklore for folklorna group Soko?
Yeah, Soko, exactly. Our big dance was definitely Leskovac. We did Devojke. There was a singing section in that, so you know, I had to sing a little. Devojke, Giorgio. I don't know. I can't sing it anymore.
So you grow up in the city. You come here, first generation American Serbs.
Yeah.
American Serb / Vlasi Roma. I mean, it's a very I don't know. It's not common, right? A lot of the Serbs that I know that are Romanian from Banat
Right.
go to a parish called, I think it's St. Mary's in Portage Park. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you guys did wind up going to Holy Resurrection Church on Palmer. You danced folklore. You did the Sunday school, and then how do you start trying to figure out what you want to do in life? Were you working in the restaurant when you were little? Did they like make you work?
Of course I was working in the restaurant. We were there. Yeah. So when we moved from Little Bucharest on Ashland to Elston, they did a full gut rehab. So my sister and I were there staining all the wood you see stained in there. We did one summer. It was really hot. We even painted some walls. But yeah, we were always a part of the restaurant. You know, growing up on top of the restaurant at Ashland was such a unique experience. My parents worked so hard. When you're younger, you don't realize, you know, the time that they're putting in. You're like, well, I want you to be at home. I want to hang out. I want to, you know, spend time with you or help me with my homework, whatever the case might be. But they did everything they could, you know, to pay for those vacations, to pay for school, to make sure that we had everything in life, you know, that we could ever ask for. But it definitely was a family business. My sister, she grew up mostly taking on the grunt of all that, with doing all the paperwork, all the visas to bring everybody over. That was all my sister's doing. And that takes a lot.
That's a pain in the behind.
Yeah. So she knows so much about all of that. Like, to me, a visa was something I swiped, and to her, it was something that got you access. So very different.
So you grew up in this hospitality industry.
Yeah.
Right.
My mom is in the kitchen. My dad is always front of the house.
Domacin. He was the Domacin. Hands
down. Exactly. And he definitely knew how to, you know, entertain everybody. And then when my sister and I were old enough, we definitely, you know, served there. You know, I would serve every weekend when I wasn't at school, or it's just funny, like, you know, you walk in, there's always something to do in a restaurant, you know, whether it be cut the bread, you know, go take an order, finish someone's drink, you know, add water, whatever. There was always something to do. My grandma, my grandpa, we all worked in the business.
Tell me, as far as going out and, like, you're getting older now, you're in high school, you go out. I think you were you attended our žurke back in the day, the Luda žurke, right?
Yeah.
Tell me, did you do the American club scene? Did you do the American nightclub scene? When did you do the Serbian scene? And how did that, you know, come about, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm not outing any other Serbians out there, but I think, like, to be able to do the American scene, I had to do the Serbian scene. Like, my parents, if you were going out with Serbians, it did not matter what you were doing. Like, you could stay out until 4 a.m. It was like, oh, si za naš, okay, dobro, like, nije ništa. I'm like, really? Okay. So when I found that out, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out with Serbians, hang out. I loved, you know, hanging out with everybody from all the different churches, Gračanica, Leland, even the Lansing crew. Like, it was always fun to go out and do all those things. But yeah, I mean, I did both. I think I was always a little bit maybe more American. And I never wanted to lose that Serbian touch. So you want to keep up with those friends, especially when Sunday school ended, especially when the folklore ended. You you don't have how to find those connections again. And we always laugh now, what's going to bring us back to Sunday school is having kids.
Right.
Like, it's such a cycle, So right now we're not quite there yet, me and my friends. So we're not back, full throttle in that scene, but there's always time.
There is time. Nemoj žuriti, alo, polako.
I know, but
Polako.
babu to.
So tell me, you're in high school. Do you know what you want to be when you grow up in high school?
I didn't. I never really knew what I wanted to be. And coming from the Serbian background, my sister was labeled the smart one and I was labeled the pretty one. So, and this was from my father. So Bronco was always like, oh, don't worry. Like Brenda will figure out school. That's my sister. And you'll get married. You'll figure it out. I'm like, okay. So that kind of actually lit a fire under me because I'm like, I'm going to do more than that. I want to get married. I want to have kids, but I also want to make some money.
Right.
So that kind of encouraged me to start focusing on school, focusing on what I wanted to do. I never knew, but there's that Serbian hustle. And I think all of us have it. It's like to make us want to prove something, we're here. People back in Serbia think we're walking the streets of gold, and to almost like live up to that in a certain way. And my parents, being in the hospitality business, were like, didn't want that for me and my sister, It was always like, what's next? Are we going to have a lawyer? Are we going to have a doctor? Are we going to, what's the next generation? We didn't quite go in that direction, but they definitely always had really, really big dreams for us. And I think that Serbian parents that I think have first generation kids here think they have that their kids have such an advantage by just having that education because maybe they didn't have it, or being able to fluently speak the language. They think that has opened up so many doors and nothing is impossible for them, which to me always encouraged me to do more.
Right. So did you ever go to camp?
Summer camp?
Summer camp, Gračanica or St. Sava Libertyville?
No, I never did, but I always wanted to.
It's never too late to be a counselor.
I don't know.
Never too late to be a counselor. It'll prep you for the being a parent, right? So,
or how do they pay?
It's volunteer.
Oh,
of course not. Okay, so you're in high school, and how do you decide to go into radio? How do these doors open up?
Yeah. So let's see. I was in high school. I was going to college. Since I didn't know what I wanted to do, I wanted to just stay local. I wanted to live at home. And so I went to UIC.
Okay.
At UIC, I majored first in political science. I took summer classes. I took internships every single semester. And then after that, I ended up finishing my political science degree in 2 years. Okay. And I was like, well, I'm not quite ready for life. So I wanted to stay the full 4, and I added communications. So I thought those were both very broad degrees where I could maybe go in so many different directions. I didn't know if I wanted to go to law school. I didn't know if I wanted to go into marketing. There was just so many different ways that I could at least use those degrees, I was thinking. And then my senior year, I had an internship. Let's go back. My junior year, I had an internship with a congressional campaign. And that was so fun. Yes, it was so fun. I was a part of that. She ended up winning her campaign. And that's Tammy Duckworth.
Tammy Duckworth.
Yeah, Senator Tammy Duckworth.
Familiar.
What's that?
That sounds awfully familiar.
No, I was so fortunate to work with her. She was such an eye-opening experience. I thought then I had the bug for politics. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I ended up going to Washington to study there over the summer. Mm-hmm. And then that internship ended and I had to start a new one for school. I was part of this class. Mm-hmm. So I was finding one. I wanted to find something in TV. They denied me. So then I went into just applying to all these radio stations. I ended up starting at WGN Radio as an intern. And they weren't even looking for an intern at the time. I bothered them so much. I was like, hey, listen, I already told my school that I'm in this class and I already told them that I have an internship and I really need this. So they took a chance on me, which was amazing. From there,
No hookups. You went in there and said, "Look, man, you need to give me this because I told them I'm in here already."
yeah, exactly. No hookups. And then I took that. I stayed there for the full semester. I was graduating. They're like, "Hey, just so you know, we don't have any jobs. Like, you better be looking for a job somewhere." And I'm like, yeah. Okay. Basically, I just like stuck around long enough. I annoyed them long enough, and they ended up giving me a associate producer position in the newsroom.
Cool.
It was amazing. From there, I started doing street reporting. This is like stuff that nobody really wants to do, especially later in their career. They were very established. They had a very distinguished newsroom, and nobody was going to go out, to a press conference and just hold their telephone out. And I was like, I got nothing to do. I'm ready. So my big break was during the Cubs wild card game, the year that they didn't win the World Series. It was the first time that they'd even been eligible to enter the finals, or what's it called? I'm so bad at sports. It's incredible that this is how I started.
Was that the guy who went out to catch the ball against like Florida or something, and the mitt came out? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, like bounced out and then it went in and then they won. Yeah. So they won the wild card game and they had nobody to send out there because they didn't think they were going to win. So they're like, Violeta, go. I'm like, okay. So I go and
WGN, just to confirm, right?
Yeah, WGN. And then I ended up being the only reporter out there. So all the news outlets wanted to talk. They wanted all my pictures. My pictures ended up going nationwide because the Cubs are so vastly popular across the nation from WGN TV. And then I did my first live broadcast. They were like, okay, we're going to do, I had never been on the radio. I was like, you guys know I've never been on the radio, right? They're like, we don't care. Just talk about the scene, talk about what what you're seeing. I'm like, okay. I got so nervous. I did a shot of tequila. I was like, I got to relax. I was there with the producer and he's like, yeah. So then that was my big break. They ended up hearing me. Next thing you know, I'm doing traffic on the afternoon show with Rokan. Yeah. And then from there,
so how did you get into the traffic? How did you start doing traffic for Rokan?
So traffic is definitely a stepping stone, I think, for a lot of people. They think it's like weather where you go to school for it. You're definitely not a meteorologist. You're not a scientist. There's nothing, specific school-wise that you do for it. So pretty much anyone can do it. The thing is, I was in the newsroom and I was already writing the traffic for the news anchor. And then that got a little bit much for them to read, to do the news, everything. So they ended up saying, well, why don't you just read it? I was like, okay, I will do that.
So you did. You started traffic with Rokan.
Exactly.
How long were you with Rokan?
I was there for 5 years.
Okay.
And then after that, I ended up going on to 101.9. I started off as a traffic reporter. That was my forte. That's what I'm good at. That's what I know, my comfort zone. And it's interesting doing traffic in Chicago because, so I never liked talking about traffic. Before I did traffic, I was like, listen, you're going to sit in the car. You're going to go on your same route. You're not going to change. I know, like my sister, my mom, everybody wanted to be like, oh, like, I wonder what's up ahead. I'm like, who cares? We're going to sit here anyway. Like, let's not do it. I know. But people get so passionate about traffic in Chicago, their routes, their streets, their neighborhoods, because we are so proud, I think, where we're from. Once you hear something from Park Ridge or you hear something from Skokie or, Schaumburg, all of a sudden you're like, hey, I know that street. And I don't know, it's like a way of connecting people and the ways that they go to work. So
how did you get into Eric in the Morning, though? How did you just applied for it? Was it an opening, or how did that happen?
Yeah, there was an opening. I kind of just was lucky that they were looking to expand, and I was looking, I think, for a little bit of growth. I was, in my position for a long time, and I mean, it's hard to, not always seek more.
I got you.
Yeah, so I was always intrigued by that. And actually Melissa, who I grew up listening to Eric in the Morning. And I told them that when I was applying, and they're like, yeah, don't ever say that again because it makes us feel old. But, you know, I grew up, I think everybody I know grew up listening to them on our way to school and carpools. It was just the morning show, you know, you didn't even necessarily know the name. It was just what was always on for me in Chicago. So when I first was doing traffic, I'm like, okay, I was very nervous when I started with Rokan, and I'm like, I would literally listen to Melissa's traffic growing up that I'm like, okay, I could do this. Like, I'm going to figure this out. I got this. And I would actually listen to her reports and the way she did it. And, you know, you just kind of pick it up as you go, I guess.
Are you still in contact with Rokan?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yes. No, yes, I am.
Okay.
My WGN radio family was so special. Like they were my first, you know? They're always going to have such a special place in my heart. I think radio in Chicago is very competitive, as it should be. So you definitely, you know, you have different loyalties and everything that you have to stick to. But I'm fortunate enough that I hope, you know, I didn't burn any bridges. I love my WGN family, and they're always going to be special to me.
How'd you break the news to them? How'd you say, you know what? Yeah, you didn't. Sorry, guys. Moram. Ali Moram.
I don't know.
It's like telling your Serbian dad you're about to get married to someone that's not Serbian. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
how do you
I
do
don't
it?
know which one I'd rather do. You know, I don't know if I can actually talk about that.
Dobro, nećemo pričati o tome.
Yeah.
All right, so you joined the Eric in the Morning show,
Yes.
and how does that work for you? Well, hold on. Let me do something for you. I want to play something. I'd like to play a little clip because you were very kind enough to send me a shout out on the Rokan show. I recorded it. I don't know if you remember it, but I sure.
I don't really, but I do. Okay.
And let's listen to it. It's you on the Rokan show when you start mentioning Balkan parties, and I think the conversation was talking about Shaquille O'Neal being a DJ, right?
I think so.
It's a 2-minute clip. Take a listen to this and tell me if you remember this, because I saved it because it was so like, she brought up my name. My God, she's so nice.
Oh my God.
Let's listen to it. Let's see ako se to dobro čuje.
We have two big DJs, DJ Spaz. And DJ
I'm sorry,
Limit.
what?
DJ Spaz, he's a very important Serbian DJ.
DJ Spaz.
Yeah, he also is running for political office, I think, in like Norwich.
DJ Spaz
Does he give out money?
is going to be the new mayor of Norwich.
Yeah, now
Is
we
that
need
what
to
you're
give-
telling us?
I don't know
We give
exactly which township he's doing.
Now
but
we need to
yeah.
give the other political DJ a
Yeah,
share
right.
time now.
Equal time.
Give him an endorsement.
DJ Spaz.
See?
Yeah, DJ Spaz.
Spaz, like, is in spasmodic, as in like he's having a spaz attack, like that kind
Yeah,
of spaz.
yeah.
Does DJ Spaz get that? That's not like that's.
PC.
There was DJ Red with 2 D's.
Oh,
But he's out of
super.
business. He's out of the business.
Yes, I'm
DJ
out of the
Limit
business because I'm
also
in the
out.
car repair now.
DJ Limit is also out. Yeah. So.
If you do need car parts, I can help you with that. I can help you with the DJ anymore. Okay.
Can have multiple
DJ
businesses.
Spaz can win in Norwich.
Do we have any DJ? Can you find any DJ Spaz
Let's
on
see
the
if
DJ?
they
Gotta
got up.
find that out. Well, let's do this first, and then we'll do some DJ Spaz on the other side. And if you
Okay.
want, if you really want to hear this, we'll do this on the internet show tomorrow, starting at 3:00. WGNradio.com or WGN Radio on TuneIn
You hear this?
or the WGN Radio app, however you want to do it. Wow. Okay.
All right.
Let's check.
Covered a
in.
lot of ground.
All right, Kim. What's coming up? At the bottom
Wait
of
for
the
it.
hour?
Ro, it just got easier for Illinois parents to administer medical marijuana to their kids while they're at school.
I wonder where DJ Spaz stands on that, since he's now elected in office. Here's Violeta.
All right, Violeta, that was a shout out to me, and I thank you. He must have said my name 1,000 times, and I got so many texts, and I'm like, they're talking about you. And they're like, who's talking about me? Some American, Rokan. I go, Rokan's talking about me. Why the hell would Rokan be talking about me? And then I should have known. Moja sestra draga, Violeta brought up, and I want to say unapred, and hvala ti. It meant a lot, and I saved that clip because I was like, oh shit, it was trust me to be brought up. I mean, they're still shocked my name is DJ Spaz, and one day I might be mayor of Norwich. You never know.
I believe it.
Word, thank you, sister. All right, so you go, you meet up with 101.9. You're in there. Let me put a picture up of that group right there.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that it? Let's describe who is who. From the left, Ucrno, ko je to?
Okay, to je Melissa. She now is doing traffic on the show, and then Eric is right in the front there with the blue shirt.
Mhm.
He's like the main dog, boss man.
Mhm.
And then Whip in the red, he does news. He's our news anchor. And then me at the end, which I don't really like this picture actually, but I had only known them for like 2 weeks when we took this.
Mhm, mhm.
And I was just like so nervous. Anyway, so that is, so now I do social media.
And how did you go from traffic to social media? It was just a natural transition, or?
Yeah, we definitely, we had some shifts at the station with everything going on. And so we all took on new roles. Melissa went back to traffic, and then I am doing social media for the morning show, which is just so much fun because you get to be that the middleman between all the listeners, everybody reaching out. You're the voice, and then you get to verbalize that on air to so many people. And it's so cool, when you give someone a shout out like that. Even just, we get text a lot during the show, so putting out 773 said, and I know that if I was listening and that happened, I would be like, that was me. I was 773. I just text that, I mean, it's so fun to connect. We have so many different means now of connecting through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's a 24/7 job, really.
Sure.
It just never ends, and your reach and ability to connect with people never ends, which is such a good feeling, when you're in this business. Your job is to tell stories and to communicate with people daily.
And you're on all the social media platforms, right? You're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, are you on Snapchat?
So I used to have Snapchat, and I feel like when I got into the professional world, I stopped because a lot of creepy people want to know your Snapchat. I mean, a lot of creepy people want to be on Instagram too, but whatever.
Okay, Twitter, right? You're on Twitter, and so but you're on the ones that count. You got TikTok, Sestro. You got TikTok.
So I do have a segment called Hot Talk. We do it every day at 9:00. So
Извини, я спал. Надо просто molto prossimo.
No, that's fine. So we're on super early. But we also have a podcast, so you can also catch it all on a podcast if you miss it during the day. But yeah, so we do a Hot Talk segment where I only have 15 seconds to describe the hottest talk of the morning, whatever I think everybody should be watching, which is very challenging. And I think Eric enjoys me not being able to do it.
Do your parents listen to your show?
Thank God, no. Because we talk about so many inappropriate things.
Inappropriate?
Yeah.
Na primer.
Just a lot of dating life stuff, guy stuff. I mean, everything's coded, but there's undertones there. And I'm afraid Bronco and Vera would pick up on it. But yeah, they don't catch it because they just don't wake up early.
And they don't listen to the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. If Tata's watching now, nemoj Tata slušati, molim te, znači. All right? And he's like, shit.
I know, shit. No, when it comes to that, he's a full supporter. It doesn't matter, Plus, we just pretend. I'm like, Tata, I just said that just for the radio. That's not true.
Are you married?
I am not married.
You're not married. Are you dating somebody?
Who's asking?
Oh, well, okay. Well, we should be.
No, I'm not dating anybody. The thing is,
No, I don't.
Well, this is where it gets a little complicated.
Hold on, let me put the screen on you alone. Let's go. I did the tremo set. It's all you. Vadiste. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's a little complicated because my sister is in a relationship and she's dating an American. So now everybody in my family is holding out and hoping that I'm going to end up with a Serbian, which I can appreciate. But at the same time, you can't force love. So that's my message.
That's your message. So let's understand. It's a little complicated, right? I spelled complicated wrong. Why the M is missing? It's a little complicated. Is that what you tell everybody? It's a little complicated?
Well, ever since I was old enough to date, I never answered that question in front of my parents. I never brought a boy home, only during prom. And my dad was like, Tata was like, how do you know this boy? He's not from Sunday school. I'm like, Yeah, he's not. And he's like, you go to an all girls school. So I'm like, nah, you're right. So I just never brought anybody home. I feel like I'm just not ready until it's the person, that's for real.
All right. Cool. I'm not pushing you to get married, Sister. Don't worry about it.
No, I know. I'm just saying. That's why I'm kind of like not into it.
Okay. So I'm under the impression because you're not married that you don't have kids. Is that correct?
That is correct. I'm
right.
childless.
Nowadays it's a lot different. So that's why I have to, be very clear on that. Okay. So where are you living? What part of town?
So I just moved out of my parents' house. I am downtown. I just got a condo. It is amazing. I do miss like Mama's cooking. I could use some sarme and some fasoli and chleb like every day.
All right. What is your favorite Serbian food? Go.
That's hard. I think paprika.
Punja na paprika?
Yeah, you just like they're always delicious.
Okay. Do you have a favorite like Romanian? Do you have a favorite Romanian food or no?
Romanian. No, but what's funny? Their mitite and their civapi are mitite. Romanian sausages though are so much bigger. See, like that's one of those things I would have said on the radio, and they want to stop me. Because they use carbonated water.
My rating went from PG to R really fast. Thank you, Violeta. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Tata.
All right.
Moving on.
Maximo Gassi. All right. So you're, how is it to work with Eric and the crew in the morning? You seem opuštena. You seem so laid back, and you guys blend awesome, right? It's an awesome blend,
It really is amazing. I think we all serve such a different purpose. Everybody brings something different to the table, which makes it really exciting because none of us agree on anything. And then there's always good conversation.
Right.
But when I first started, I'm not typically nervous, and I had been in my old position for so long that I felt very comfortable in what I do. What I didn't realize though is radio is definitely like a family. So until you're comfortable with that family, it just doesn't, I was so nervous when I first started, and I like had a little voice and I was a little cracky, and my time change was insane too because I used to work in the afternoons and now I work early mornings.
So let's talk about a day, right? What time do you get up in the morning? Like what time do you get up?
Yeah, so I wake up at like 3:50 a.m. And then
3:50, ladies and gentlemen, just to be clear.
I know, and it's a lot to get used to. When I first started at the Mix, I started during the polar vortex, so it was my first day at work was negative 50 degrees in Chicago. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I took a cab to work because, they were saying your car might not start. Like there were all these precautions. So I took a cab, and on my way in, I've told them this story as well. I'm like, I was just crying. I'm like, it's 3:50 in the morning and it's below zero, and I can't, I couldn't put mascara on. You can't put makeup on that early. It's just like horrendous, everything. But you get used to it. And then in the summer, it's so much nicer because the sun comes up way earlier. So you don't feel like a vampire, When you go to bed, it's dark. When you wake up, it's dark. It's like.
When do you sleep when you get home?
What's that?
When do you sleep? When it cuts spanish?
Well,
wait a minute. Are you like a baba going to sleep at like 7 p.m.? Is that what you do?
This is pushing it for me. Like I try to be in bed by 9:30.
All right.
Like 10 is the latest, which if you know me from the old days, I stayed up late and I was a partier. I got a day drink now to like make up for it. But
what's your favorite drink?
Dirty martini with 3 blue cheese olives.
All right, guys, did you hear that? Anybody interested? Want to send a shout out to you by Danny Danilovich here. He said a big hello to Violeta. I listen every morning and I'm a big fan. Congrats on her success on the radio. More to come, I'm sure. Love the outfit. Let's talk about the outfit. Vidiga.
Da moja baba će voli ovo majicu.
Da vidimo, ajde.
Ima mimicu. It's from Forever 21, but I know, Baco, I know you're watching. I know you like this.
Vidite to. Very, very classy, my friend.
Serbian. I'm trying to Serbian it up.
Hey, when people ask you what your nationality is, what do you say to them?
Serbian, 100%.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. There's nothing else to say.
More the pitam. More the pitam.
But that is interesting because I think being first generation Serbian here, when you're there, ti si Americanka, ti si od Chicago, you're not from there. And then when you're here, Americans look at you like you have a third eye when you're like in your noshnya. Like you can't win almost either. When you're here, you're foreign. When you're there, you're foreign. It's kind of a strange, but I think a lot of people first generation, not even just Serbian, feel that. It's just a very strange identity thing.
Did you like dancing and all that?
I loved it. I still know Leskovac. It's like ingrained in my memory forever. Trokorak, I hear Angel telling us like, don't stop.
What's your favorite Serbian song?
Well, I have a couple. I like Bogu Fala by Spia, I think. And then I like MC Janko, Zlato Moj. We play that actually on the morning show. Whenever
You mean that one? All right. So you like Moje Zlato by Milica and Janko, right?
Yes.
And you said you played it on the show?
Yeah, we play it. Anytime I start bringing up, Serbian stuff, they bring up goats. And and then we get into conversations about Serbian culture. But it's fun.
Was it who had the bigger culture shock? Was it Rokan or was it Eric?
I don't think that the morning show has fully embraced the Serbian yet that much. Because I think it's like it's a learning process. I think that like first and foremost, I'm there to do my job, not be American, but be as relatable to our general audience. And then after that, I feel like, I do have such a unique aspect that relates to different people, both with my Serbian and with my Vlaški Romanian, because there's a lot of people come up to me and they're like, I nanny and I listen to the show all day and they're Romanian or they're Serbian. So and then they have the kids listening to it and then they tell, whoever they work for, like, oh, she's Serbian or she's Romanian or, whatever the case might be. So there's just such unique different ways to connect to a different audience.
So tell me, how did you start incorporating your baba?
Oh my gosh.
Social media and into the show.
So, millennials get a bad rap that we're always on Facebook and on our phones. You put that device in front of anybody, they will be addicted.
Okay.
The example, my grandma. I started involving her in all my stuff on social media because she wanted likes and follows. And she's like, I want people to comment on mine. And I'm like, well, that's fine. We'll just do a ridiculous video at Walmart and people will come and they will comment. At first, she hated it. Like, she was like, ovo sramota, ne mogu, like, people are going to laugh at me in the selo. And then she realized all the other babe were like, oh my God, that's so cool. I can't believe you did that. So she's like, okay, we can do some more videos.
That's crazy.
Yeah, she's crazy. She's so good at all of that stuff.
Let's get a couple clips going of Baba, where you've shared them on your social media.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start. So you speak to her in Romanian?
Yeah, at home, we definitely speak more Romanian. I think that comes from my parents' Romanian restaurant, and that's just what we revert to always, definitely.
And whose mom is this?
This is my dad's mom, Branko's mom.
This is the legendary Branko. All right, so let's play a couple of clips of Baba, and then I'm going to ask you to translate because
yeah, for sure.
I know, I don't speak Romanian, so I'll put the video.
Violeta, nu m-am mințit.
Pachi, pune-o.
Nu vreau.
Pune-o.
Nu vreau. Lasă-mă
Arată
dracu.
să văd cum arată.
What did you tell Baba in that clip?
So before that clip started, she saw me take out my phone and she's like, you're not recording this. And I was like, no, I'm not. And so then the clip starts with, she's like, you lied to me. You lied to me. And I'm like, no. I just want to see what it looks like on. And she's like, no, I can't.
All right, we got another one. Let's check this one out, huh?
Lele ce-mi place de el că moale am
Molly, love you. Ah,
It seemed very heartwarming, and it looks like it's Vreme Božića. So what is that?
Yeah, that was a robe that we got her. She loves soft things. It's funny. My grandma has a saying. I don't know if it's in Vlaški or like you're an adult once, or no, you're a baby once. Hold on, what is it? I'm messing it all up. She says it all the time. Oh, you're an adult once and a baby twice. Like she's at that point again where she's kind of like a baby. Like she loves soft things and she just wants to cuddle, and it's really, really cute. But we got her that robe and she was just like, "Fala lepo," it's so soft. And then what she always says is, "I'm not coming back next year." She never wants to come back. She's like, "I'm staying in my house," but she always comes back. And what's funny, if you notice, I said I love you. A lot of my followers started noticing that I say it to her and she never says it back. Like I'm always like, "Love you, Bubble," and she's like, just ignores me and goes on with her day. Right. So then my sister started making fun of her, and now she says it back, and she says it in English, which is so cute.
That's adorable.
I know.
Sometimes when I talk to my Baba, she's the best. She's a very amusing lady. I say bye, Baba. I say bye, Maika. Right, and she just hangs up. Doesn't even say goodbye.
Yeah, I know. It's like I don't have time.
What the hell just happened? Play one more clip of you and Baba. I think this is the best clip thus far. I really like this clip. And here it is. Violeta Sababum.
On this awesome coat. I had to get my main squeeze one too. Bako, it's blushing.
I need you to tell me what she said. I'm rolling. Just looking at her.
She looks like a pimp. So that was at H&M. It was, and you know how Serbians are. They always want to dress alike. Like all the generations wear the same dress to like weddings or whatever. Or at least maybe not all Serbians.
We had the same couches. Every family had the same couch in the 70s and 80s. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, I always try to get her to match me, but we were just trying those coats on, and she was like, I was like, "Do you like it?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then she's like, "We got to get out of here. It's getting late." I don't know. She just wants to rush me off the camera as much as she can.
Tell me, if you weren't doing what you do now, what would you be doing?
So I always wanted to be in the nonprofit business. I love volunteering. I think that it's just it's almost selfish that I enjoy it so much because I feel like I am so rewarded by helping other people. So it's kind of an interesting feeling that I feel from that. But I always, I helped out at community building tutors where we worked with kids and tutoring them after schools. I worked with a law office that helped like pro bono cases. I just always did nonprofit internships before I did WGN Radio's internship. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I think that I would be doing something with kids or some sort of nonprofit organization. I work with Boys and Girls Club. It's just so cool to see, what a little bit of a difference makes, especially to kids that want the help.
Živa istina, they say. It is the truth for sure. Tell me, what do you do in your free time? Do you have any downtime?
Yeah, I have a lot of downtime. I love to cook. So I'm always, on my Instagram posting my recipes. What else do I? Well, I mean, now with quarantine,
I always see you eating out. I mean, you're eating out, Sestro.
Okay, you have to eat 3 times a day. There's a lot of meals. But yeah.
What kind of food? What do you cook? What do you like doing? Like Serbian dishes, Romanian dishes, American?
Asian? I love Asian food. Like all things Asian. I make a really good pad thai. Tofu, chicken. I make some Serbian dishes. I haven't like mastered bread. Actually, I haven't even gotten close. I only tried once. But like palachinke, punje paprike, pasul, like, wait, how do you call that? In Romanian, we say varza. Cabbage, like pickled cabbage with smoked meat.
All right, that works. Sure. We did it in English. Everybody understands English, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so where do you see yourself? You're going to stay with Eric and Eric in the Morning Show? I almost said, the old show name. Do you see yourself staying here at the Mix? Do you, podcasts coming in, internet radio has really, really hurt terrestrial radio, right?
Mhm.
And but I still think the morning shows have, solid ground. They're not going to be affected by this just yet. Do you see yourself doing podcasts on the side? Do you see yourself moving into, other platforms? This sebe vidiš za ajde 5 godina, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully not locked up in your home because of COVID, right? So
I know. Can't wait for that to be over. But yeah, I kind of take it one day at a time. I never want to get ahead of myself. Before I do anything, I want to master what I'm currently doing. I never want to move on. So I think for right now, I'm very, very happy where I am. I hope to have a long future with them. I'm approaching 2 years at the Mix. So, I definitely still have that new feeling, but at the same time, I'm hoping to get more settled, even more a part of the show and more grounded, because I think that there's so many possibilities and you don't see those possibilities until you master one thing to move on to the next. So as of right now, I'm focusing, on my social media duties, on my daily, on the show. I have I'm fortunate that we get to all contribute to like show prep, and definitely from a younger perspective, giving them my opinion on what I think is popular, what I think people are talking about, what I want to talk about, what my friends and I are talking about. That's a way that I can contribute to the show and grow within what I'm actually doing and not change.
is it a syndicated show or is it just Chicago-based for now?
Just Chicago-based.
All right. But that doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tomorrow, but at the 3, 4, 5 stations pick it up, and next thing you know, boom.
Yeah.
Violeta's. Do you travel often outside of like Serbia?
Yeah, a little bit. I think in my adult life I haven't, but necessarily. You just kind of buckle down and work, So I think in the last 5 years I haven't gone many places other than Serbia. Plus, when you get the time off, it's hard to not pick Baba in the cello.
Baba je zakon. I got a question from the group, and let me see if Danny Dinovich is right back, the guy who likes listening to you. It says, what other Chicago radio legends would she have liked to work with? Anybody that comes to your mind? I mean, were you ever even a morning person, like prior to your show?
No. I mean, other than, on my way to school, I wasn't really listening to much other than Eric in the Morning when I was listening to the morning shows. But I think that you hear so much about radio personalities, like from the past. I don't see myself necessarily in those people because they're typically older men. And I don't necessarily know what I would like. Very old men. I don't know what I would have had in common or had to contribute. So I really like the evolution that radio has taken, seeing more females, seeing more ethnicities, seeing more change as opposed to just the same old.
Is there anybody in the industry that you admire? Like that you look up to, that you're like, man, that is, I want to be that person, but I don't want to come off copying that person, but I love that person.
Specifically in our industry or like locally, not, but like, not that I don't, but I think like I look at like a Chrissy Teigen, who's like obviously a big star, but like just her realness. So anytime somebody is real and can just be honest, like if you make a mistake, if you say something stupid or that you don't mean, just admit it, like who cares? We're all human. We all say things we don't mean, or get caught up in a moment. What I found is I'm not afraid to make mistakes. And I admire other people that A, fess up to their mistakes, and B, take chances. So
is there anything that makes you uncomfortable? Anything, other than the fact that, Mom, I thought they're maybe listening, maybe.
Yeah.
Or not. Like you seem so opuštena, boli te briga, like you just said, you know what? We made a mistake. Idemo dalje. right? That's what it seems like.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way. I think that I give what I get. So if people are being a little bit difficult, all of a sudden I clam up and am difficult. I think that the measure of a good interview is the person asking the questions and how comfortable you make the person to speak and open up. But I don't necessarily get uncomfortable. I think sometimes I feel misunderstood. And in those moments is when I kind of get my foot in my mouth because I just keep talking to try to explain myself. And then
it gets worse.
I'm like, you know what? Never mind. You're a lost soul. I can't change you.
I'm done. What would you say is your proudest achievement, my friend? I mean, to us as a community, I am just very, very happy and proud of you, not just of you, of your dad, of your family. They came here like most immigrants, and they just started working, and they made it work. Yeah. And they did what they needed to do. And I've worked with your father on a number of occasions with using the restaurant and the venue for events. And we've always had a very good, solid, quality relationship. And when he was part of the riverfront project that we did through Bocce at a few years back, that was amazing. I think it was just the perfect night in Chicago through Bocce on the river. It was just amazing.
It was insane. That was epic.
Until the cops came.
It's not a party unless the cops show up.
Right, we had a light show, and they, a lot of people are gonna say they came because there was a fight. No, in this instance, they came because the Trubachi were so loud, and the water carried the sound, and we were like at LaSalle, and this water just carried the sound down to Michigan Avenue.
I know.
And the people in those honeycombs were very upset because I know, and it's like midnight, and all the Serbs are on the riverfront. I was just one of the best events I could have ever been a part of. And you being where you're at and you being part of the show, you guys make us so proud. And I know that, and that's why I wanted this conversation. I wanted the people to know that you do exist. You're there. Those that don't get up in the morning, of course, right?
Yeah.
And tell me, what would you say, what would be some words of advice to those that want to maybe get into this industry, right? It's radio. I love radio. I've been doing it for 24 years. Tell me, what do you say to the people that want to do radio in this new kind of era of radio?
I think everybody gets into it differently. The key to me is to just be authentic. People might not always understand you. They might think you're being weird, or they might not understand maybe our culture or whatnot, but just being authentic. If you believe something, say it. If you don't just agree with everybody, because it really truly is. Somebody told me once, first you get the courage to speak, then you figure out what to say. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people can talk. Not a lot of people necessarily have a lot to say. And I think that message is personal to you. You know what I mean? So nobody can tell you what to say. And I think people try to be a certain way, like you said, look up to people and then imitate it. There's not going to be another you. And that's what makes maybe your voice special to be heard. So to me, that's the most important thing, to just stay true to yourself and to stay authentic, which, in a changing world is difficult. And I think when you have bosses and deadlines, you want to appease a lot of people, but you just can't do, what I mean? You have to be agreeable, but you have to be yourself. So it's a fine line. And especially I think as a female, you walk that line a little bit more because, if you're opinionated, you're too opinionated. Mm-hmm. If you're not, you don't have enough to say. So it's an interesting dynamic sometimes, but I think just being authentic, finding your voice, and then finding a message.
Are you in touch with any of the other Serbian media hosts or people that are in the industry?
I'm really not. And to be honest, not that many Serbians have necessarily even reached out to me, other than like the late night slide into your DMs. But just, I don't know. That's why I wanted to do this so much, to kind of reach out to the Serbian community, because I don't know if they know, like we have someone out there on the morning show, like hopefully representing. And that's kind of the problem too. You can't represent.
You represent. Hands down.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I'm still just gonna be me. So maybe someone's listening and be like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. That's not Serbian, or that's not what I do at my house, or whatever the case might be. But again, I'm just speaking my truth. So that's, whatever I say is what me and my family did, or what I, know to be true. So
would you watch your own show? Otom potom, kad tad.
It takes a lot to have your own show. There's something so nice about being someone's co-host or being just on a show, because you get to be that punchline, and I enjoy being that punchline so much. You don't have the worries of, we got to get to commercial, we got to go to news, we got to go to I don't necessarily have to think of all those mechanics or the logistics of everything, and that gives me the luxury to laugh, to contribute, to make a joke, to be the lighthearted one. So I, at this point in my life, enjoy that. But I think we're always looking for more.
And are we talking, if you were to want to do it, maybe
morning,
afternoon, evening?
I can't even. I don't know. I mean, the thing is also, this industry changes so often. It's not from one day to the next, is very, very different. And I've been so fortunate to work with such great companies and such great shows. Knock on wood. I typically somebody that doesn't start off in Chicago. You go to a smaller town, you get your bearings, you make your mistakes. I was fortunate that I had people that were okay with me making mistakes live on the air.
Did you ever get in trouble?
I got a dump button once. Yeah, that was bad. So a dump button is like,
let's explain what that is.
Yeah, it erases the last 10 seconds because there's a short delay on radio just in case someone curses or says something.
Like Violeta, right? Yeah.
So yeah, I did get.
What did you curse? Yeah. Is he psovala? Yeah.
It was such a long time ago. I can't remember.
So Serbian. Yeah. Okay. Dobro. U redu. Okay. It happened. So that's it. That's it. No, did you just what? Was a slap on the hand? Hey, nemoj to više da radiš.
Oh yeah, you learn. Oh, that feeling of I mean, it was so scary. Who
pressed the dump button? Who pressed the dump button? Who does that? Who makes the call?
That's the host.
It was.
Yeah, that would be the host. And you always have your eye on the host, so you see them reaching for the big red button to dump you, and I'm like, yeah, it's scary. But you learn very quickly. And when you're on a live show, you can't help but move on because your brain wants to tell you oh my God, and you want to freak out and get yourself down and whatnot. But go to commercial and get going. You gotta keep going. The show doesn't stop.
It doesn't. The show must go on, right?
Yeah.
The show must go on. Tell me.
And sorry to cut you off, but I learned that from the restaurant, really, because, whatever issues we were having or didn't like or liked, the whole restaurant was full with guests, and that couldn't stop either. You know what I mean? We always had to perform or finish the task at hand. There wasn't any, oh, we'll do this later. It was there's hungry customers now. People are complaining. People are,
right?
Yeah.
Violeta, any final words to your fans that you might have watching us now or will be watching in the future here? Any final thoughts? Šta hoćete da im kažeš? You've got something od srca, nešto od srca. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're talking to your baba. Ajde čujemo.
Yeah, I am just so fortunate to be here and that you wanted to speak to me and hear me tonight. I think it's so special that I'm Serbian. I'm so proud of where I come from. I'm so proud of my family and everything that they've accomplished. And I hope that I'm, making us proud and sharing a little bit of our traditions every day. Moja baba gleda ovo selo sada I mean, you just want to make your own proud. And
sure.
Whether it be mama, tata, baba, my sister, it's everybody all Serbians are part of that family. When you're in the grocery store and you hear it a couple rows down, you're like, those are people. Yeah. Sometimes you turn the other way, but sometimes you talk.
The best is you walk up to them, čistog mira, and you're like, hey, odakle si?
Yeah.
And they're like,
Ne znamo, no.
Like, what the hell? All right, we got a few more comments. Milana Bajic says, hi, Violeta. Good humanitarian organization is Lifeline in Chicago, helping orphanages, schools, shelters in Serbia, Republika Srpska, and Kosovo and Metohija. Glad to have you join us if you want to take a look into Lifeline Chicago. They're always looking for some good people, right?
I love that. Yes, thank you.
And Tatiana, and by the way, Milana was on the riverfront that night.
I feel like a lot of people were on the Riverwalk that night. It was a fun time.
All right. Anyhow, hvala ti, sestro draga, for joining us. Thank you for the last hour and 11 minutes, my and you. 111. We appreciate it. We appreciate what you do. We appreciate you bringing us up continuously to the public that listens to the morning show. We know our situation. We are a minority here in this great country, and we just never want to forget where we come from.
For
and
sure.
we do that very well. From Rokan to Eric in the morning to maybe your own. Where can they find you? Where can they what's your Instagram? Is that probably the best way to follow you? How do they follow you?
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. At Violeta Pod, just Pod, Violeta Pod. You can find me there. That's my name on everything.
Violeta. Oh, really? You know what? This was an early question.
Yeah.
How do you say your last name?
Podrumedic.
One more time.
Podrumedic.
What does that mean? Someone said that it means basement.
Well, I think it does. My family, I asked them, I'm like, we always kind of talked about Podrum, comes from, Podrumedic for basement. I know that there's a lot of like wineries and people making wine in basements. So maybe at some point back in the day, we were making some wine. I'm not 100% sure, but other people have like cool meanings, and mine is basement.
Basement. Moshe.
Basement.
A few more comments just for the end. Great job from your former Sunday school teacher.
Thank you.
Fala Timina and Denise Kangraga, who joins us from Phoenix, Arizona, says, congratulations, Violeta. You're so lovely and intelligent. You are a great representative, Serb. So napred. Fala ti, sestro draga.
Fala puno.
Violeta Pod is where you can find her on Instagram. And I think it's only fitting if we're going to start with that kind of a song to finish with that kind of a song. Violeta! Sa srećom, sestro, good luck. Talk to you. I mi se vidimo I čujemo ako Bog da.
Ćao. Hvala.
Hvala vam.
Good partner. You just gonna leave me out here?
Laku noć.
Laku noć.
And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, join us next week, Monday night, where we are joined by Angie Taylor of Kiss FM. Fala Violeta Podrumedic.